Hello and welcome to the Q Show. My name's David, and today I want to talk about the moment we're in and specifically what it requires of us. And I'm not talking about what it requires of us for everyone else. I'm very specifically talking about what it requires for us as individuals. And when I say that, what I mean is what it requires for us to do to ensure that we are able to navigate the days ahead. Now, a couple of clarifications when I say the days ahead. Part of the conversation today, we will talk about the next 6 months. And this will be particularly interesting for those in the US and to be honest, I think the rest of the world as it unfolds over here. But I want to touch on that and I guess bring it to attention because I think it's a really good time for people to start preparing for some disruption. And yeah, I want to help with that if I can. And then the second part is kind of the longer days ahead. As we move from the old world to the new world and we navigate that kind of in between where so many parts of the old world are and will die and new ones will be created. But as that happens, well, we all know what the world is today and how complicated it is. It's not going to be easy to get from one to the other. I mean, we're already in it, by the way. We're in the early days of that transition, and I guess I want to touch on that, and then in general, as we look ahead at the new world and the what's going to be required of us to survive, to thrive, to grow in the modern world, in the new world. It's going to take a lot of us. Like it's going to take a lot of effort and focus and dedication to yourself and to ensuring that you are as strong and as wise and as prepared as can be and as adaptable as can be to meet the moments ahead, which will be a surprise. Which will disrupt not just your life, but everyone else's around you and much further afield, no doubt. So, I'm going to go about this in a roundabout way, and I'm going to kind of talk about a couple of ideas within this whole conversation in my head as I kind of have passed it all and continue to piece it all together and to contemplate it, and for myself, of course, like how I think about what I need to do to prepare, and I can touch on that a bit as we get into it, and what I've been doing for some time. But yeah, okay. So the days ahead will be different. Our species, we have been on this wonderful trajectory of things getting easier and easier and easier and easier throughout history. Literally, as the years go on, life got easier for our people. We, those that are on this planet right now, and really in particular those probably up until 2000 or the early 2000s, we got the best of it. We had relatively the easiest lives, the greatest time of peace, the greatest time of growth and prosperity and acceleration of globalization, right? And technology and economies growing and we lived and we grew up in a moment where the world felt open. You know, it almost felt predictable, like it was going and it was getting better and it was getting better. And then of course, something changed. You know, in the early 2000s, the internet arrived, and as wonderful and as extraordinary as it is and it was very quickly tainted by social media and to further on more specifically, the vampiric economy that followed social media with the aim to capture your attention and, of course, never, ever give it back. And a couple of decades later, I sit here talking to you and every moment of our attention is taken from us, or at least attempted to be taken from us. And in some cases, it's easy to grab it. Amidst all that, as the world's got easier and the internet made it easier, by the way, like it was kind of getting to that peak of ease, things also were getting really complicated, right? Like the way, we can talk about climate. And again, I don't think everyone knows what's happening, right? Everyone can feel what's happened. I remember when I was at HBO and interested. I realised as a reflection, this was very rude of me in the moment, and I think this was part of me. I think Kitty's causing some trouble. I reflect on it back afterwards, and probably another way I could have approached this. But when I was at HBO, we had someone come in to us to talk about climate change, and I mean this must have been 2018 or no, 19 maybe, certainly obviously pre-pandemic, maybe 18 or 19. And they gave this hour presentation, and the ambition was to, this was all the top people, everyone was like, and the idea was like, look, this is what's happening. We need to change the culture on set, right? We need to start using renewable energy. We need to start reducing our emissions and being really conscious about this. And everyone's got to do their bit, otherwise we're in trouble. And specifically, they were saying that ultimately this is everything that's happening. This is what's going wrong. And but we're on target. If we go above 1.5 Celsius raised, like there's no turning back. It's really it's just going to get worse and worse and worse and quicker and quicker and quicker. And she went through this whole presentation, and it was very good and interesting and informative. But it wasn't done with any sense of urgency. It was just kind of, presented as these are the facts, right? And I asked her at the end, I said, well, this 1.5 number, and I was a lot more, naive and uninformed at that moment about these kind of details. But that 1.5 number, I asked, is that, are we going to make it? Frankly, I was like, are we going to make it? You're kind of talking about it as if we can, but reading between the lines, it doesn't feel like it's possible. And she looked at me and she just said, no. And I was kind of taken aback by it because she's done this whole presentation about all this information, this is what's going to happen, this is what we need to do to kind of get us on track. But at no point until I asked her did she say explicitly, no, this is it. We're unless something crazy happens, this is it and we're on this track. And actually, and I said, and again, this was the root part, I said, well, I think that you should kind of really emphasize that. This wasn't, that's the key, that's what you're going to get these people in this room to listen to, is the stark, the cold, hard truth. And I argued that, I guess, as I say that out loud, I think that's been one of the problems over the last decade, 2 decades. And again, I'm just an observer here, right? I have no amazing efforts to all these people who have been doing the work and gathering the information and doing the research and trying to prepare the world and trying to wake people up. But there, I don't know, it just didn't feel like the greater species didn't pick up on it in a way. They didn't sense the urgency. Maybe they did and they just couldn't deal with it. But all this said, that's just, again, I was trying to touch on it a little bit, but I've kind of gone down a little bit of a tunnel there. Just that I guess it's so phenomenally big and existential, and it is going to have it already is having such an impact on our daily lives, already at this point. As we just heard, the commentary was that we're not going to make that number. And by the way, as I understand it, we've already gone over that number, and that number was by 2100. I think was if we do it by 2100, we're in trouble if we go over that. And I think we are already over it at this point, right? I think hopefully that should give a real gauge on it. And it's going to get worse and worse and worse. And like, it's not even just, it's going to get hotter, it's going to get colder. Like things like, for example, the Moroccans and the mass migration into Spain recently, right? These are people who are suffering from inhospitable environments. And there's many of those already suffering so much, and so you're going to get that impact too, where it's going to be unlivable, and they're going to have to be pushing out. And so, as time goes on, and this is really for the next 5, 10, 15 years, the climate issues and crops, food, like there's going to be so much disruption as a result of this. Energy prices, traffic, ability to get supplies and resources, like all of this stuff will be affected, and that's just one thing that's coming up ahead. When we look at politics, right, we look at the global political sphere, and we're in a lot of trouble, right? It's like we've run this great experiment for a long time, and it's clearly just not working out, right? Again, we were doing really well, and then a few things started to change, right? Well, now we're at this moment where it doesn't feel real, right? It doesn't feel real that this is allowed to be the reality in the modern world, that people are able to manipulate the system and game it and abuse people along the way and cause more and more suffering to your friends and your foes. The trust in the world has been diminished so greatly. Like the trust that I'm talking about also, as a way to frame it, is like this trust was built over centuries. Like this is centuries of our species gradually learning to communicate more and more and compromise and negotiate and trade and seeing that being together is better than being against each other, right? There is opportunity for prosperity all around. And we were heading that direction. Again, I mentioned earlier, like the kind of the turn of the 21st century, globalization was accelerating so much, and it was a really special thing. I really felt like I could just explore the whole world at that point. And now I think I could probably explore much less and feel comfortable about it, or as comfortable, certainly. So that trust, which has been built over centuries and really like a huge part of it, again, like everything else in our species, accelerates as time has gone on. Like everything is accelerating. And after the Second World War, there was a great acceleration in unity and kind of mutual understanding that that isn't the way to deal with your problems, right? It's like you say to a bully in school, like that's not the way to deal with it, right? There are better ways. And we were on that track, doing really well, and then there's just a few bad players, and that's really it. It's a few bad players who really have the power to make the changes or kind of try and grab the bit of life that they want. So all that trust, and suddenly over the last 10 years, has just been disintegrated. And even if we think about the United States, right? The reality is that 10 years ago, the US, however mismanaged and flawed the system is, there are also many more greater things about it, for sure. But it had this position in this world, this kind of beacon of safety, of justice, of kind of like hey, look, we're gonna work this out, right? We're gonna find a way, and of course, again, makes errors along the way. It certainly has, and many not excusable. Let's be clear. But it had it was more the idea of the US that was really important, and it kind of kept this stability around the world. And then, of course, if we think about how the US spread itself around the world, and self-serving, of course, but also to great benefit to many nations and communities around the world, by them being present and managing the global seas, right, and policing the global seas is a great benefit to the world. And the kind of pulling back of that kind of stuff is, it creates less safety for everyone else. But America had this wonderful beacon. It was it was a special place. But now it's very difficult to trust America, because what's been shown in the last 10 years is that in any 4-year cycle, someone can come into power and completely destroy centuries of building of trust. And at this point, the way we communicate, the way we are, the grand scale of problems we're kind of consistently dealing with in tandem, to rebuild that trust, for the world to rebuild that trust in America, it's going to take a long time, like a long time, decades, maybe more. And for it to happen, things have to change. They cannot remain the same. And I think that's kind of I'll zoom out on that a bit in general. Like, clearly, the way the system works does not work. It doesn't work. Like, the problems pile up and pile up and pile up and pile up, and they're going to continue to do that, unfortunately. And I'm sorry, this is a bit of a somber episode, but the second half of this is going to be more uplifting and certainly offer some value with all this context to help you navigate these moments of what's ahead. So there's that. And there's so much more. There's right, AI. Okay, AI. I haven't even talked about AI, and we know about that. We know what's happening now. We know where we're going to be in a few years, 10 years. And for anyone that doubts the success trajectory of AI, just contemplate the fact that, a third of the world's resources, every country, it's an arms race to get there. We have never, as a species, so collectively focused on a single goal all at once with so many resources. And we know it's theoretically possible. We're going to work it out, and probably with the help of AI. And it won't take that long. It'll be 5-10 years. So that change is going to be significant. And I've talked in other episodes about what those changes will be, and the speculation, of course, and they're just going to be many. Like, your life will absolutely be changed. Some ways for the better, right? Anyone who's using AI now, my gosh, what a game changer! Like, it's just changed my life. There's so much. My output is my ability is so much more. But of course, there's going to be all the bad and the risk and the danger ahead, which is inevitable. Again, humans are at the helm, so there's no way it isn't going to go that way, however good the AI is. Pardon me. Knock-on effects. Well, we can talk about jobs, we can talk about social gatherings with more inflation, higher costs, oil, wars. Things are going to get more expensive. You're going to be able to do less. You're going to be able to travel less. Maybe able to get less stuff. Like, you might be able to get less stuff from the supermarket before long. That won't be surprising. Many other things. Like, the world, what I'm trying to say, and I'll kind of try and hone it in now, is that we had this wonderful world of like gradual progression. Now we're at a point where, like, the Pandora's box has been opened in many ways, and there's so much complication. We've built so many systems on systems that it's impossible to solve so many of these problems piece by piece, or even as a whole, because we need to collaborate. We need to be able to communicate as a species, and we can't do that. We are unable to do it. That's the ironic reality of humans, as I think about it, is at one of our greatest gifts, if not the greatest, is our ability to communicate as we do and to tell stories and to kind of bring people into our worlds. But we can no longer do that. Like we can no longer, it doesn't make sense anymore, right? It doesn't make sense anymore. So, all this said, like the world has changed. It's changing. We're in the eye of it, and while you're already feeling the impacts of it every single day already, climate, money, inflation, war, conflict, division, all the things that we're all feeling, right? We're all feeling overwhelmed. There's so much of it, so consistently. We're all feeling it. I'm afraid it's going to get worse. And I'll be honest, I've tempered my time talking about this because I know people don't want to hear it. People don't want to hear that life is going to get harder. Life might get a bit worse before it gets better. But it's true, and I think that not saying it is I just think that would be that's not the right move here. In that I can see it, and I am in it, and have been in it for a long time, and at this point, I guess like what I've been feeling and what I've been seeing and what I've been paying attention to is all realized as I expected it to be. And there's no sense that it's not going to continue in the same trajectory that I suspect it is going to. And so, as I think about this moment, right, I'm like, okay, I'm this person. I'm able to do this amount of stuff. I'm this strong. My diet is this level. My brain is this level. Like, and I know with all of that, I can deal with what I've been dealing with now. Right, I can do that. But I ask myself, okay, but if I look ahead at 5 years and what I'm saying is true and it comes to pass, what do I need to be able to deal with that? In myself, in the things around me, in the people around me. What are the things that are going to help me navigate it in the best way possible and offer me the best chance at a positive outcome and as little pain and trouble as possible along the way. And I say that knowing that there will be lots. Like I know as I look to the future, as much as my life is getting better every single day and I'm becoming more and learning more and growing and Q is doing just the same, I know that there will be moments where it's going to be really, really difficult. For me, for the world, for this country, for whatnot. And the conclusion, quite frankly, is that I need to consistently get better, right? I don't need to exhaust this. We all know this is the whole point of Q is to help people develop that ability to consistently get better, to learn and grow. And I guess this is part of the reasons I'm talking about this is because while we've been very fortunate for things to be getting easier for so long, it's been a luxury. And we haven't had to be the best versions of ourselves, right? We haven't had to have our minds in tip-top shape. We haven't had to have our bodies in tip-top shape. We got lazy, right? We got really lazy. We sit and watch TV, and we don't work out. We eat bad food, and it's just this, it's just that, it's just this and that. Consistency is a problem, and it adds up and adds up. And instead of improving and getting better and getting stronger as you get older, people are tending to get weaker and less able and more unhealthy and putting more poison in their body, processed food and chemical, and so much stuff. We've been able to be like that. We've been able to be lax about it. But what I'm saying is, in the days, months, years ahead, you will not be able to afford to not be your best and strongest self. Or at least if you enter the near future, and of course this isn't for everyone, right? This is not for everyone. But if for most people, and again, I'm still on this journey. I'm still like improving because I know I'm not there yet. I know I have a lot more work to do to be ready to meet this moment. And I'm doing it every day, bit by bit, in every sense of the word. And I know that everyone can and is and should be growing as well. Again, just by nature of who we are as humans, but really looking ahead at what is ahead. And I guess I would ask yourself, I'd invite you to ask yourself, if David is right, if what he's saying is true, and we're really about to go through some difficult stuff, am I ready to deal with it? Am I healthy? Is my body in the best shape? Am I eating the right foods? Am I resting my brain? Am I looking after myself? Am I looking after my people that I need to look after? Do I have the resources if I have to weather a storm? If the answer to those is no, like, here's the choices you have here. You can say, I'm just going to ignore it. I don't think he's right. I think this is all going to work out fine, and we'll work it out, right? Because we always do. Okay, that's one choice, and maybe I'm wrong, okay? And wonderful, by the way. Like, this is one of those great moments in life where you know, I would love to be wrong on this. Like, I would love for this not to unravel the way I suspect it will. But let's say I'm wrong, and you're like, fine. And by the way, in that scenario, if you just stay the same, or you kind of keep doing the same things, maybe you're getting more unhealthy, you're doing less social stuff, you're putting on weight, you're getting more tired in the brain, you're not getting to do the things that you love to do. Many things that kind of continue as we get older, and we tend to sink more in our bubbles. But then let's say I'm right, and you continue down this path, and you get to these moments, and you're just not ready to deal with them. You don't have the tools, the space. You haven't set up your life in a way that you can draw time and energy to deal with problems, because you're just letting yourself be consistently overwhelmed again and again and again, every moment of every day. And just as a zoom out on that one, for those of you that go and don't build in space, when something big comes along, it will be very hard to deal with it. Very hard to deal with it, because you won't have the space to do it. And so much of your other life will be disrupted as a result. And that's kind of an example of what I'm talking about here. But then let's say I'm right, and and you have done it, and you've listened to me, and you're like, you know what? Like, okay, I've been eating this food, I've been young enough, I work out a bit, it's fine. I haven't been paying attention to my mind, I've just been like enjoying stuff, and just I'm enjoying life, and not thinking about all this stuff too much. But now you see what I'm saying, and you, in fact, like, another way to put it, I think, is we haven't, as a species, we haven't quite accepted in our minds that this is over and this is about to begin. But we have in our hearts. Like, I know, and I think you know, that this is over. Like, this cannot continue, right? It has to change. And so, if I'm right about all that, and you do, or are, and continue to start doing the work and doing more of it, and more consistently, and to the point at which every moment of every day you're really adding value and more to your life, because you're building more awareness and knowledge and experience. When these moments come, again, you're ready to meet them, and you are prepared because you have been preparing yourself consistently. And not only that, your mind is so tuned in to learning and growing and being curious and being adaptable, that it's not even like you're having to think about it too much when these things come along. You're already ready for it. Like, you're doing the preparation way ahead of the moment it happens. And again, I believe many of these moments are coming, and some of them very, very soon. One example of how I think about this and how I have worked out my life and worked out how to get the most out of my life is simplification. And now, I've always been a fan of simplicity, and try to keep my life as simple as possible. But as nature of the modern world, we complicate things. We overcomplicate things, and we do too many things. We think about too many things, and it's just a lot. And I think that one of my I did this. This idea. Animals are simple by nature. Humans are complicated by choice. I think that's entirely true. You go in to buy a candy bar and there's 100, right? We don't need that. And swap the candy bar out for life, right? It's just so much of everything. And that's a result of the modern world. Like 25 years ago, there was only so much stuff because we only had access to so much stuff. And again, life was more enjoyable, more present, simpler, getting easier and growing and whatnot. Now there's so much of everything. It's overwhelming. Again, it's just overwhelming, and information could probably be at the top of that list, and specifically delivered through social media. So there's so much of everything, so much complication, and we've kind of been conditioned to it bit by bit by bit. So it's not like suddenly we're like it's all here. We've just grown with it as the world has changed. So I'll say for myself, I didn't even realize how overcomplicated it was. There was just so much. And so one of the efforts I've made over the last, 10 years, really, is to simplify my life. And really focus on the specific things that help me grow and that help me add on and prepare. And some examples: yoga, meditation, being creative, training my mind, learning, reading, consuming information, like these big buckets, and generally everything I kind of put my energy into is adding on to me in some way, and making me stronger and wiser and better prepared, and building my relationships and all the things that I think are necessary as we look ahead. So simplification is really important, and things are a great example. Like, gosh, did we get dragged into the consumerism period, right? Like, oh my gosh, there's so many things, let's buy them all because we can. We all know how much money is wasted. We all know how many things, like, look around you right now in your house, in your room. How much of it do you need is actually really useful? There's just a lot of stuff out there, and abundance has been a thing, and that will change. Just again by proxy of many of the things I've talked about, but also resources and ability to kind of. So there will come a time when you won't be able to afford to do things or buy things or eat certain things, and I guess what I'm trying to get at here is like starting to deal with that now, right? Starting to think about your habits, think about where your money goes, think about the things you're buying, think about the food you're buying, think about the things you're doing, right? And start thinking about the things that are most important and that add the value to you. And I'd recommend kind of steering to simplifying in that direction, because at some point you won't have a choice. Like, some things will just disappear and will be more difficult and more expensive and out of reach maybe. And it's better to do it on your own terms and gradually and mindfully, so that you can kind of build new habits and really bolster the things that are of value, and you can really carefully get a sense of those, rather than in this moment like, oh gosh, this has happened, I've got to deal with it. What are the things that are important to me? What are the things that are not? Start doing that now. Thinking about how you can simplify your life and what's important, and what you really want to get out of life. What parts of it you enjoy most, where you get the most value. What are those things? Think about that. It's a really powerful conversation to have with yourself, and one that can really inform you in so many ways and set you on a path to preparing you, helping you prepare for what's ahead. We've talked about health a bit on this, have touched on it, but I think that is arguably the most important thing in many ways, and I'm talking about mind and body health. We've been poisoned for a long, long time, and people are still eating poison every day in the food day. If you're eating anything processed, it's been processed. It's likely to have things in there which weren't around 100 years ago, right? That for 200,000 years of our species, we weren't putting these chemicals in our body. We weren't putting these things in there, right? We were eating natural foods, and over the last however many decades, centuries, really probably decades with processed food, maybe a century. I mean, basically processed is very different to the processing today, of course. I think you get that, what I'm saying there. But look, it's just poison, and all this stuff is also addictive. And again, these things will go, and they're luxuries, and weaning yourself off these poisons and these processed foods and the sugar. I know because I've done it. Like over 10 years, I've gradually, like growing up, eating candy, eating bad food, sugar, cereal, just not good stuff, right? Bread and by the way, I still eat bread. That's one of the only 2 processed foods I still eat. And yeah, just addicted like everyone else, and also had no awareness and no knowledge of like how bad it was for me until I really started paying attention to it and like looking for patterns and experimenting with myself and working out what worked for me and what didn't. And the conclusion of it, quite frankly, is that 90% of the food I ate most of my life I don't eat anymore because it makes me feel bad, and it's simple as that. It's full of crap, I know it is, and so now I eat mostly just fresh food that I cook, and I eat bread and I eat cheese. They're my 2 processed foods, apart from a rare special treat, when I'm feeling a bit saucy. But when I do that, by the way, like I had a chocolate bar the other day. My gosh, it's delicious chocolate bar. I love chocolate so much. I haven't had one in a while. Had a chocolate bar the other day. Within like half an hour, my eyes are like watering. They're like tired. I'm like feeling like super sleepy, and I had to have a nap. It just hit me so quickly. And again, that's just me. Not saying it's everyone. But start thinking about what you're eating, and maybe to the point at which you eat it, and then a few hours later, when you feel a certain way, wonder if it's linked. Look for those patterns, right? Just think about the food you're eating. Like I'm telling you, the processed stuff, it is poison. I can't say it more clearly than that. And again, if we think about a healthy body for the future, eating crap, again, we were able to be luxurious about this. We've been able to relax because we've been in a world of security, a world of predictability, a world of safety, but we're not in that world anymore. So if the shit hits the fan, as I suspect it will, in lots of ways, in lots of big moments in the days ahead, if you're unhealthy, you will struggle. You will be in trouble. If you need healthcare, will be more difficult. I laugh, but it's not funny. I laugh because it's so ludicrous that we're in this moment when we've come so far and we've done so well to be like not just turning back the other way, but like plummeting in many ways. So think about all that, the food you're eating, and again, the exercise you're doing. Again, not exercising is a major problem. You will need to be able to be physical, like in the days ahead. There is no doubt about it. And if you are weak now, if you do not feel healthy, do not feel strong, you will struggle greatly. Now is the time to really start thinking about your health and start improving it day by day by day by day. Again, I'm always happy to talk to people about anything like this. Like this is life-changing stuff. And again, from my own experience, life-changing. And I really would like all of you to be able to weather the future, but also just enjoy it as much as possible when these things are just as important for both of those things. What else? I guess to say, I mentioned before about the next 6 months. I've spoken to some people about this stuff over the years, about the story that's been unraveling here in the US. Um, Not too much acceptance and belief, but it seems to have gone that way. Where we are right now is, unfortunately, very much what I saw on the horizon. And the next 6 months are going to be, again, worse. Like we feel like this is really bad right now. There's so much bad stuff going on here, and so much trouble and strife. And we have the midterms coming up, and quite frankly, I mean, democracy is on the line. It's as simple as that. It really is. And this, like, this is going to be a war over the next 6 months with the midterms. As we build up to November, things will get more and more and more heated. When it comes to the vote, there will be a lot of issues during the day. As much disruption as is possible will be sought, and very much the same afterwards. The clear picture is that Democrats should easily sweep the House, and it's looking more and more likely, though still a very difficult path, for them to take the Senate also. Now, if they do this, it essentially kind of hamstring. I don't know what I'm trying to say. It really derails Trump's agenda. An agenda which, as we know, he's been aggressively pushing at breakneck speed. And their philosophy, by the way, going into this presidency was very much do everything all at once, overwhelm the system so that there's just too much for people to fight back against, and we just ram our agendas down this country and the world's throats. Very successful in that, and they want to do 2 more years of that. And where we are with the war in Iran, that's not ending anytime soon in a way that is realistically good. Again, I laugh, but it's just because it's just like, I can't believe this is where we're at. Like how we not learned the lessons. So the point is, the next 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, we're gonna have a lot of trouble in this country, and I just want to say it out loud, because I think that the better prepared you are for it, the better prepared you are for it. It's as simple as that. Just even to put your mind to it, to be conscious of what is ahead. And this will also disrupt the world, by the way, because this will rattle the American institution more and more and more. The conflict will rise. In worst case, there is some kind of civil uprising, depending on the actions taken and the methods and how successful they are. And it will be a really interesting moment for the world. Let's say if the worst case scenario, that the administration claims rigged elections, which we know they're going to, they're already doing it, which, by the way, 2020 was rigged, 2024 wasn't, but this one is now. Amazing. So that will be it. All the other disruption. I think, unfortunately, well, I mean, unfortunately, it's not the right word. Like, people will be pushing this country too far. Be pushing people too far. I think that this power grab, the world is against it. It's not working. It's clearly not the right path forward. Things are clearly not getting better. And these midterms are a vital moment for the future of the world. And there is also a chance that it comes out, and while there will be this disruption, we do come out the other side into next year and maybe as people are sworn in slowly, maybe delayed, things will head in the right direction to some extent. And great. And that's amazing. And even if that happens, by the way, it doesn't stop the train we're on, I guess. It certainly slows it down, and maybe does really helps us steer it in a better direction. But, this system, as we know, it's not ideal. It's not working. It clearly cannot scale. As a species, we cannot scale. We cannot consistently grow. That was the theory for many, many generations. But it's just not viable. It's not possible. I think our species will peak at 2100 and then start to decline. So look, all this said, difficult episode, like it was. And I don't like to do these much, but I think it's really important to talk about this stuff and right now because I don't want to have to talk, I don't want to be saying to you in 6 months, like, I was thinking about this and now here's where we're at. Like, I want to give you every chance and every opportunity, right? I quote Pink Floyd often, but there's a wonderful line, 10 years have got behind you, you missed the starting gun. No one told you when to run. This is a starting gun. I'm telling you to run right now, and run not away from anything, but to it, to you, to the best possible version of you, the strongest, the wisest, the best prepared. You have that power. You just need to make that choice to say, I want to be better. I want to be healthier. I want to be wiser. I want to be smarter. I want to be able to do this. I want to be able to do that. I want to have better relationships with people. I want to be able to understand my emotions more. I want to be able to understand when I'm at my best, when I'm at my worst, and what leads to both of those outcomes. And again, even if I'm wrong, doing this work and paying attention will only garner massively, massively positive benefits for you. And as time goes on and you get into this pattern, these benefits grow exponentially. So worst case scenario, the world goes the way I've just kind of laid out, it very well may do. And lucky for you, you've been preparing as it does, and you are ready to go, or not. On the other hand, maybe it does go a brighter way, and we come together and we see the error of our ways sooner rather than later, and somehow it miraculously all gets a bit peachy. At that point, you're still ready to run. Whereas others haven't been preparing. You are like, I want to be the best so that when whatever happens in this next moment, whatever happens in the next 5 years, I'm going to be at my best, which means I'm going to have the best chance at navigating it to the best of my ability. That's what today's about. And again, sorry if it was tough. If you got through it, thank you. And I wish you all the luck and support in the world. It's difficult to grow. I've been on this journey for a long time and just piece by piece just try to understand it and add on and it's been very difficult along the way. I've had a lot of tough moments over the years and hard lessons but my gosh, was it worth it? My gosh, my life now is 10 out of 10 consistently. It doesn't mean nothing's difficult or going wrong at times, but the way I am navigating it and looking at it and taking value from it all is a complete game changer. And I'd love for you to be there too. And Q can help you, of course, many, many ways. Keep following along, share, comment, ask me questions. Anything you'd like me to talk about, give me a shout. If you're interested in being on the other Q show or the other Q show, give me a shout. I've been lax on producing those because I've been working on so much other stuff, but I am aiming to start producing more of those very, very soon once again. And of course, Qualia. You all know about Qualia at this point, but it's just a very exciting moment for me and for Q and for Qualia. It's a very special experience, and people are responding to it, which is really cool, and excited about all the people I'm gonna help and change their minds and change their lives with this experience. So hopefully you get to be in one at some point soon. Give me a shout if you want to learn more about it. And otherwise, stay safe out there, pay attention, and keep learning and growing. And I'll see you soon. Thanks.